Fill our cups, Lord. Fill our cups to overflow. With your new wine, Lord, we drink of it, we bathe in it, we immerse ourselves, we swim in it. Pour your wine out, Lord, pour your wine out. It's no coincidence that we just have that anointed song for this time. And we're about to hear from Bex, who's going to bring to us a message on songwriting, but I can just see, I'm not a musician, guys. I'm a worshipper, but I'm not a worship leader or a musician, but I come from the place of the prophetic and teaching, and that's my jam. That's an intercession and things like that. But I can see how God is, even today and amongst us, even leading up, just the conversations we were having, what he is doing and how, so I got hair in my face, how he is setting up this reformation. And I can hear a song like that. And as a times and seasons prophet, I can hear like that is our time. That is our season. This is for now. And then when Gav and I very first came here last year, and we saw Beck and Nick and their kids leading worship up the front here, and I can just see this and what God's doing in the generations. And you know, the revival is going to come. I love this. I love that your children, you know, we've got Gen Z, right? We've got Gen Z who are actually crying out for a set-apart church. The whole world is. Okay, consecrated means set apart for a holy use. But like we've just heard from Kieran, right? The church has tried so hard to look like the rest of the world, to sound like the world, to be seeker sensitive, to be relatable, to do that. When the stuff hits the fan, the world is not going to be looking for something like them. They're going to be looking for the light. They're going to be looking for something different. They're going to need that. They're going to know where they can run to. They're going to have to see your life and your family and your workplace and your home looking different to them. They're going to have to go, oh, I know to go to their house. I know to run to them and ask for help, because they look different. They sound different. They speak different. They live different. They have a different lifestyle, different values. We are called to be set apart, but the church for too long has tried to fit in. Do not conform to the culture around you, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And Gen Z, I tell you what, the revival that's coming is going to come from the young people. And you know what I love about Bex and Nick and their family? What I saw upon them the first night I met them, and I don't know them, like I only know, you know, I don't know them personally. I will from now on, I hope. But what I see upon them is what God is doing. It's like, you know, when you're a forerunner, like even in worship, prophetic, you definitely live the forerunning life. But I see what God's doing, and he's igniting this generation in front of us that we are, like we're all one generation, we're all alive, right? But I love that it's not lost on me that right now we have Gen Z, and then my kids are the younger version, they're Alpha. We have the Alpha and the Omega right now, right here. That's a word. That's a word for the times we are in. And I believe that, you know, everything we're hearing today about worship, everything we're learning about the temple and the Reformation that Kieran was just sharing, and the, you know, restoration, everything, that it does begin in our hearts, but it begins in our homes. And we have to, this is what Rach was saying this morning about, you know, how you live in your home, with your kids, with your spouse, if it's just you, if you're with your mum and dad still, if you've got grandkids, I don't care what part of life you're in, our homes are the beginning of that. And the fire is falling upon the family altar again. And it's going to come from these places again. And like, I think a lot of people have said it today, but I think Kieran just said then too about the ground up. It's going to come ground up. We're waiting for revival to come top down. It's never going to. It's coming ground up. From the youngest generation up, from the homes up. That's how it's coming. And we have to restore the altars in our homes. The altar of prayer. The altar, you know, I bet you we all have an altar in the living room. I bet you we switch it on every night, right? And worship it, you know? Hey, What does that say about, okay, I could go on that. We've got to restore the altars in our homes.